Good morning
Good
and
morning.
welcome
Morning.
to
Welcome.
Coffee with Ken.
Yeah.
And I have
Mm-hmm.
my special guest with me today, my lovely bride,
Mhm.
Dr. April Brown,
Hi.
who's pretty much becoming a regular with me on this. You
Yeah.
add a lot of value.
Thank you for having me.
You bet. And Mr. Butch McCracken, the general manager of Destiny Global. Glad you're here.
Good to be here. Thank you,
And
sir.
we get to continue talking about something today that we have been talking about we've been talking about the laws of success, but we're going to continue a little bit on the law of focus. And specifically today is talking about focus around marriage. And Chris uses this word, he calls it intentionality. And being intentional is what it really is. And welcome, everyone. We just welcome kind of our living room, if you will, here in the studio, but really just open conversation to talk about ways to improve our marriage and being intentional, and then laughter.
Yeah.
And I want to talk about that and get your two thoughts on that and what you have gained from coming to these events, Butch, and April obviously being a professional counselor for so many years and then moving into the other side of the realm of coaching. So one is looking at the past and one's looking at the future, and get some perspectives on this. But man, as you start thinking about the event with Mark and laughter and really understanding men and women better, one of those things he really touches on is communication. And I would want to probe into that a little bit and just get your thoughts on what tools have you used to help you in communicating better with your spouse?
Mm-hmm.
And obviously I know you have a few, and Butch you as well. But let's start with you, Butch, and see what your thoughts are.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So before we started to attend the events, Diane and I, our marriage was mediocre at best, right, with our two girls. And we actually had to sit down and talked about a separation, as this is a loveless marriage, no divorce, but we gotta check ourselves and figure this out. And Diane came to an event, came home, and asked me to go. First Steps to Success was that event back in 2011,
Wow.
the first event. And, she kept coming back and coming back. I had to be drug at first. I confess this to everybody, so it's no secret. And I realized I watched the change in my wife and my kids and realized I need to be a part of this and started to apply. The big thing is when you realize that you're the common denominator in all your issues, okay?
Yeah.
You're the one with your kids. You're the one with your spouse. So maybe it's time to change what you're doing. And when I saw the change in my family, I realized I need to get on board. And that's what I did. And we're getting ready to celebrate. Oh, my gosh, this year is going to be, don't get this wrong, 29 years. 29 years of marriage. And I have to say the last 10 have been probably the best in that. And it's communicating, watching my wife, who her personality is like your husband's, Mr. Brown.
I know we're like the polar opposite of his wife and him and me and you.
Yeah,
Like
absolutely. And it's been good us
I
getting
know.
with each other. And she's really worked on herself and refined herself, as you have, Mr. Brown, and we have too. And the difference has been incredible. The example for our kids to be able to see now what does love look like, because they're going to emulate what you do.
Right.
And marriage doesn't come with a manual. Doesn't say do this on Tuesday and then on Wednesday. And we also have to remember that marriage is a marathon. It's not a sprint. You don't figure out marriage. You have to continue to be intentional with what you decide to do. And the longer you're into the marriage, kids, career, the intentional part takes work. Early on, it's much easier. It's just you two. It's the courting. It's the love. Well, it changes in terms of how you keep that going, and being intentional takes much more focus as you progress through, and it's worth it. I love looking at my wife, and after 29 years, I'm thinking, man, I love this woman more today than I did that long ago.
Yeah.
And I can sincerely say that.
Yeah.
But it's because of effort. Yeah. It's the bumpy road and the whole 9 yards, but
That's
stay
awesome.
to it. Stay at it. So,
It's so crazy to think that you got so much from your marriage from coming to a business
Yes.
conference.
Oh, we
We were the same way. Like
coming
that.
to the event.
Yeah.
It was, my wife needs to get her business stuff together. I'm going to learn this so that I can hold her accountable. Guess what? The accountability turned pretty quick. But that's what happens with our events, right?
Yeah.
You come for one thing and you realize I'm the common, and it's relationships. So start with your marriage. But yeah.
Yeah. And to me, that is priceless, right? Of getting that marriage where we wanted it for, ours is 31 years. So, and definitely the last 4 there have been some intentional struggles, is what I call them, because they've been focused toward getting us better. So before, it was like struggles that were like struggles. They were just like, it was just us like just swimming, doing the doggy paddle and getting nowhere.
Well, those struggles would relate to around finances and how we were going to spend money, or communicating about the children, and also things taking priority where we weren't dating the way that we should have been, right?
Yeah.
That's really comes back to one of the key things is dating, because it brings fun back into the relationship and having fun. And, that's kind of what we did in our funny video that we put out about dating, but really dating your wife. I said, that you and me in an Airbnb watching Mark Gungor. But why? Because it's going to be fun. Yeah. And it's intentional fun, and it's focused fun, and it's aimed at our community and strengthening our marriages and giving a whole different perspective on things. And I'm super excited about that. But talk to me about what you worked on and things that, well, I'm not going to answer you get to speak.
Thank you. Something we've learned. We're doing better.
That's right.
So, yes, being intentional with what we do with our time, like you mentioned, dating, but also how we're growing. And we did a lot of, even before coming was Mark Gungor, and we watched that together. That really was a starting point for us to begin to do that very intentionally.
Right.
We started with that, and it became coming to these events and watching them online together, watching some of the trainings together, and really processing them together. And now we read books together. That helps to build our marriage. And right now we're doing the boundaries in marriage, which is, sometimes we're reading that, we're like, have they been at our house? Like, are they hearing the conversations?
Where's that?
And sometimes we'll start to focus on, oh, that would be good for so-and-so to hear. Like, we even do that as a couple, even though you do it as an individual. But sometimes even as a couple, and then we're like, wait a second, we're doing this to work on ourselves. We need to focus on what we need to get from this.
Right.
So it is really being intentional about being intentional.
Well, it is, but we talk about this, but it also is knowing your personality, and you knowing my personality, and when to approach each other with conversations, and like your mornings is knowing your personality and what you need, and us being talking about it. And this, being married to a doctor, you learn important words like the meta communication, which is really communicating about how you communicate, and in deeper feelings, and knowing what you need, and you being open about it. Right, and that's one of the things that I had not done, because as the business and Mr. Executive, so you carry loads, and like when I leave the office, I'd say when I get in the car, which is a nice car, by the way, that A8 was so nice, just all the luxury.
Oh my!
But here's the thing, we're not going to get off topic. It just happens, okay? And
Cars with Ken.
I would say, because that was my stress relief, is getting in that really nice car and driving. But the reality of it is when you're sitting in traffic and that problem is still brewing, it's not going away, and not sharing that with my wife of what went on in the day is, how'd your day go? Fine. That's not an answer, right? Is really give on, because every day is going to have its ups and its downs. Even sometimes some days the ups are much higher than the downs, but there's usually something you've had to focus on that day that may have been a little more difficult than what you thought. And obviously us being at even at this company, there can be very hard days, because a lot of our clients, we're seeing people go through really hard things. Really hard things, and some of them are walking through death. Shout out to walking their family through that's in hospice, and we even have one now that we've been in communication with, and she's walking her mom into eternity, and those things are hard. Those things are hard. And being able to communicate, and then us knowing how to communicate about it. And
and the times to communicate, like you were saying, of like knowing that personality when you first come home from work, and you've just had a busy day, and probably not the best time to just try to get those conversations in, and how you approach it. Like literally, it happened this morning. Actually, I was just thinking about this. Like you came in and wanted to talk about something, and I was really pressed for getting something done, and I was just like, "That's really important to me. I really want to talk to you about that. Can we talk about it later? Because my mind is just so focused on this right now."
Yeah, you did that last night. Yes, you did. You're right.
So.
And respecting that boundary, right, and giving you permission to have the ability to say that and not get my feelings hurt, right, because you were working on something that was important, right? You were getting on a call to help some coaches. So the reality of it is making sure that we're giving each other permission to be human and to do what you need to focus on at that time, but making sure that we're also setting aside time, which we do at night, every night before we go to bed, to spend time together and talk. And it's when we do our readings together, and we have a time set aside to talk to our daughter, Chloe, and just make sure in the week to see how our week's going. And we found these things to be very effective. And we do them with our adult children now as well. Less frequently because none of them live at home. Noah's at college, and Noah, Nathan, Cal, and Chris are all in their, 3-buddy apartment back there, Chris behind the camera. So, the bachelor pad.
Yeah.
So, but being able to talk with them about, what they're talking about with their future, and really we can see the legacy that we came here to build is happening.
Yes.
And
I
there's
tell him that all the time. Like, this is what we came here for originally with the training, and continue with this training, even working here. It's like we didn't come here for a job. We still came here to build our legacy and to keep growing. And it's so important that we're doing that.
Absolutely. And we are.
No, I was going to say, when you talk about legacy, it really exploded for me in what we're doing, and I mentioned this to Danny and others, is that when I saw my grandson born, that's when legacy hit me. Beyond my daughters, then you start to see legacy unfold. And I hopefully get to see a great-grandchild, but it hit me that we came, 45 years old, making adjustments, doing better. Our kids were 9 and 16 coming, making adjustments, doing better. Our grandkids, they get to hit the ground running because they're being brought up in this environment with my daughter and Isaiah. And that brings tears to my eyes because so much heartache, things will happen, but they're going to know how to handle it because they're being equipped because of growing up in this community from ground zero. So, yeah.
It's true. And there's really, the thing is the community, you guys are so incredible because we lift and encourage each other up. And it's through events that we strengthen each other, and it becomes a common ground. And that's why I'm so excited about this Mark Gungor event, is it's going to give you a new perspective. And even those that have heard it before, is digging in deeper and knowing how to apply some things that we're going to continue to teach on here, because it's really, it's groundbreaking in how he teaches. And that's why he has millions of viewers, not hundreds, not thousands, millions. And for him to come and invest in us and say yes and come to Kerrville, Texas, and this studio is going to be right here, about right where April's at, right? Hitting on some major things, but having a blast in the process, and I just can't wait. So it's
when
going to be
is
fun.
that?
That is March 18th and 19th, and you can get your tickets at our website. You sure can. You can go right on there and just hit it on, and I'm sure most of you are probably seeing ads running for it. There's a very broad thing, and one of our things was for Mark is introducing a lot of people, and this may be your first introduction to us through this episode, and so we welcome you. But there is so much richness in the teachings of this organization, and it's always said they come for the money, but they stay from the relationships and the ongoing teaching, and it's so true. And our slogan is earn more, keep more, to do more. And it really, it's so true. And we see that those that are applying things to their life, that's exactly what's happening. We're earning more, we're keeping more, and we're doing more with it to impact the world and impact our own families. And
but losing a relationship is so costly. I mean, nobody
Yep.
wants to go through that. So, one way to do that is to make sure you're building your marriage and your marriage relationship. We've seen the last 2 years so much going on.
Right.
This pandemic, relationships, families breaking down. So this is such an important time. That's why we want to focus on that. We want to bring a focus to marriage. And so getting your ticket, and husbands, I encourage you, get the ticket, give it to your wife, get a hotel, get an Airbnb, take that time special for your wife. She will love it. It'll be amazing. And you'll have fun. Like, you'll be laughing while you're also talking about
Right.
marriage. So I think it's going to be amazing. And so I strongly encourage everybody to get your ticket, take that time away for each other, make sure you have babysitters for the kids, and really focus on your marriage and be intentional.
And you know, the price point of this is so ridiculously low. I often hear how much money we're willing to spend to go out to eat,
Yeah.
you know, at a nice restaurant or go to a sporting event. It's like $300 a ticket for a pro sports if you're lucky.
Yes.
And the price of this, what do we
Yeah.
invest in our marriage?
Yeah.
What the
So
number one thing
true.
we should be investing in, right? Amongst other things, having fun.
Right.
But if you sit back, how much do you invest into your
Yeah.
marriage?
So
True.
true.
And
True.
this price point,
Yeah.
man.
Get your ticket. That's what they're
Get your
saying. Get your
ticket, yeah.
ticket.
Yes.
So
And I
we'll
want to
see you there.
yeah, we are going to see you there. And I want to shout out to Jackie and Carmen. Carmen did a teaching last night. We're going to continue to do some teachings on marriage and more things coming out about that, as I had mentioned in the last episode. But we want to thank you for joining today.
Yes, thank
we
you.
Yes, we look forward to seeing you soon. And thank you for joining Coffee with Ken. Have a great day.
Bye.
Bye-bye.